Hello, County Fair fans. Welcome back to the Los Animas County Fair 2023 edition. It is a beautiful Thursday evening here in Trinidad, Colorado. It is time for the cattle show.
Yes, sir. We've got a real nice day it's turned out to be. We had some rain earlier on, but it was just enough to cool us down without flooding out the entire place. So it was, it's been real nice, a real nice day. It started out like it was going to be a real hot one, but now we are actually getting right into the shows here. We did not have the announcement of who's in the ring right now, but I believe we have Jace Rogers. I'm not sure what class this is or what they're showing for.
Most likely going to be a showmanship class. Looks like our senior showman, if they are consistent in their class order. Here's our announcement.
All right, it looks like I was right on one of the two in our group. We got Jacqueline Rogers and Jace Rogers out here for senior showmanship. Leading us out. We don't have quite as many beef as we've had in the past, but looks like it'll be a good quality day. And our judge for tonight is the same fellow we've had for sheep and goats earlier today. He's done a fantastic job, and we have a pleasure of having him. I don't believe I caught his name, Mr. Brad. Were you able to?
Yes, his name is Lonnie Treehill, and originally from Kiowa. I believe went to Oklahoma State University, and now is making the rounds as a livestock judge. Has done a really fantastic job, in my opinion, to start the day. For the showmanship classes, he really spends time talking to each showman, telling them what they can do differently to improve their skills and abilities and their time in ring with their animal.
Yes, sir, and he's done a fine job of making sure everything moves at a pretty decent pace, too. He takes his time with each individual person, but not so much so that it drags the rest of the show down, so. Looks like the weather might be getting to these cows. It's been a long day for everybody, including the animals, and looks like these beefs are being a little uncooperative. That's all right. Jace Rogers and Jacqueline Rogers doing a good job of trying to get them where they need them. Staying composed when your heifers or your steers not really complying can be frustrating, to say the least.
And, folks, if you're watching, we're having a little bit of internet connectivity issues here at the fair. So if you're trying to watch and it's cutting in and out, we are doing our best to bring you the action as we can. So again, if our feed looks a little jerky at times or cuts in and out, please be patient with us. And if for some reason we have to stop the feed or the internet signal goes down, come back to the Saddle Rock Sports Network. We'll create a new live stream and make sure that we get the action back to you as quickly as possible. We've had some weather, and the internet connectivity here can sometimes be impacted by that weather. It's been a real fun day here at the fair. This is our fourth species of shows that we've done here today. We started the day off with sheep, and then after sheep we went straight to, now I'm pulling a break,
poultry and rabbits.
Poultry and rabbits, followed by the goat show, which was our largest show in terms of number of exhibits thus far. And today we're finishing off with, obviously, the beef show here. We will be bringing you the pig show tomorrow morning, starting at about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I believe that is the scheduled start time, is 9 a.m. or actually 8:30 or 8 o'clock. We'll double check those details. And then Saturday morning, we are going to bring you the round robin.
Fair commentating, and I'm not sure how much play-by-play there can be for. Oh, did we lose the stream?
No, we are back up.
Oh,
Again,
okay,
folks,
just making sure. Sorry about that.
just be a little patient with us. If that stream drops and reconnects, it will do its best to kind of keep it to you. Maybe between classes, we'll try to do a little wizardry. We might miss a little bit of action maybe in the showmanship classes, but by the time we get to the market shows, we will do our best to have that connection as solid as possible.
Yes, sir, and it's not just the stream that's misbehaving. We've got some rather uncooperative cattle in here as well, but both Jason and Jacqueline Rogers are doing a fine job of keeping their composure even though their cows are not. But once again, showmanship is much more a judge of the individual rather than the animal. Seeing how well they keep their composure, especially with cows. They're big, they're brutish, they can be a little bit stubborn, but it's really up to the showman to keep their composure, move the cow as much as they can, and if they can't, well, they're just having a bad day. So,
well, and it's also a matter of familiarity that the cow has in the ring. You know, this is, for many of these animals, going to be the first time they've been in a crowd, unless, you know, the showmen were able to get them to any other kind of jackpot shows or things throughout the summer, just to get that in-ring familiarity. So it is a test of the exhibitor's skill in the ring, but also it's a reflection of the amount of time they've put in to working with their animal. So you're not really judging animal construction and, you know, muscularity per se here, but you are judging their behavior and the animal's temperament as a reflection of the work put in by the student. Or by the showman.
by the showman,
Student,
yes, sir.
the student athlete, student showman.
There you go. Fair enough. And I believe just about everybody in the show right now is still a student on some level. So
Yes, student of life. Aren't
yes,
we
sir.
all?
As we all should be. As also in the ring with us, we have a couple of junior superintendents that are helping the show run smoothly. We have Blake Olguin, who's over on the far end, who's helping keep the cows maneuvering, and Miss Emma Amato, who's going to be helping hand out awards. They've been handing out not only ribbons, but also little boot bags for the winners of showmanship, just as an additional prize and pat on the back for these people that have put in lots of work with their animals to the point where they can win showmanship. So, and the winner of every showmanship class, I believe, and potentially the runner-ups, get the chance to compete in the round robin on Saturday.
No, it's just it's only the winners.
I see.
But there are 3 different age divisions. So there's the oldest exhibitors as seniors, then the ones in the middle, more the junior high-aged kids, those are intermediates, and then the youngest exhibitors are the juniors. And so the winners of each of those age brackets within their species gets to compete in the round robin competition, where they will crown a senior, an intermediate, and a junior champion showman from all of the different species. So the showmans of, oh, here we go. We'll explain that later. Here's Judge Trujillo.
Well, we have our paddle show here with our senior showman out here. A pair that I think do an exceptional job. I wouldn't talk to each one about maybe some pointers. I think the young lady out here needs to win, just in terms of control of that effort, how she leads her around. Very, very exceptional. Talk to the young man about some things that he can maybe work on. Steer didn't want to work with him quite like he probably wanted today, but that's okay. He's probably hot and tired. Go ahead and give that senior showman a round of applause.
There we go. Senior showmanship. We'll go to Miss Jacqueline Rogers. Jace Rogers with the runner-up.
So Jacqueline will get to compete Saturday morning in that showmanship contest. And we'll be bringing that one to you. I believe that's scheduled to start at 9 a.m. Saturday morning, Brody.
Yes, sir. Always one of the most fun events to participate in as a showman, as you show every species of animal. And I think you score certain points, or if your placing determines how well you do, but you show steers, pigs, lambs, and goats all in one day.
Horses as well. I
And
believe.
horses. Ooh, interesting. I feel like they need to add chickens and rabbits to that mix just for a little bit of fun.
Colin Doherty, Hunter Lucero,
All right, I believe we have our intermediate showman getting ready to enter the ring. And again, we do not have the names of these showmanship participants in front of us. They are, the showmanship contest is often, ooh, did we get that rodeo caught behind us?
I think we got a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of an adventure here during the beef show.
Yes, sir. You've got these intermediate showmen, some of which have worked with their cows quite a bit, but they're still beefs. They're still 1,000-pound masses of flesh that can just bowl you right over, quite literally.
And that was Colin Doherty that just walked in front of camera here, one of our intermediate showmen with a nice little heifer.
Yes, sir. Coming in, I believe this is Hunter Lucero. Coming in with, ooh, we may have some uncooperative cattle on our hands, which is, I hate to say it,
makes for good
typical.
theater.
It does make for good theater. Ooh.
Oh.
Seeing him. We also have Jacob Larson. Ooh. A little bit of runaway beef, runaway beef.
Yeah, way to go, Jacob, staying with it. Again, the first time in a show ring for a lot of these animals, and I really admire and respect all of these showmen. It takes some courage, it takes some strength, it takes composure to be able to handle something that weighs over 1,000 pounds.
Oh, yes.
And it takes maybe more than any other animal preparation work ahead of time. And even if you've put in all the time in the world at home in your corrals, when you get in that show ring, you're surrounded by people and lots of other animals, lights underneath the structure. For some animals, that's just a kind of a scary deal.
Oh, absolutely. And also, once you get one animal that's overreacting and going a little nuts, that's when the rest of them kind of feed off of that same energy. So if you get one cow acting up, then chances are the rest of them are going to get a little antsy too. And try to get a good look at each one of these young showmen going down the line as the judge does the same.
Try and stay on the one that he's at.
Sure. Sorry, folks, our camera placement isn't quite perfect. Can't quite see Jacob Larson's cow as he's going down the line. That's all right, though.
Well, again, that's all right. We are learning lots from a broadcasting perspective here at the Los Animas County Fair. It's one thing to do a lot of sporting events. It's another thing to do a livestock show. Just a different rhythm and flow and its own little set of challenges. So we appreciate the Fair Board and County Extension agents giving us the opportunity to be here. And we're also going to feature a lot of our sponsors that have made this possible. And our sponsors are making it possible for us to buy some snacks and pay our student broadcasters. So we're really grateful for everyone that's helped contribute in one way, shape, or form to this student broadcasting adventure.
Yes, sir. One thing that I think would make an amazing addition to our broadcasting this would be a Skycam, like you see at pro football games. We can string it up in the rafters up here and send it zooming over the arena.
Oh, I'm sure these cattle would really love the zooming motion cam.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm sure that wouldn't be stressful or freaking out at all. That thing's fairly silent. It's pretty much just like a big old, I mean, there's nothing scary about a camera in the sky. I don't know what you're talking about. Taking them beefs for a walk. That's a lot of cheeseburgers in the ring right now.
I really appreciate the good work we're seeing on each of these intermediate showmen. They've obviously not the first time in the ring, at least I can't say that for certain, but I'm willing to bet this is not the first time in the ring for these showmen. I remember seeing a lot of them here before, so
Yeah.
pretty confident in that claim.
And they're all doing a fine job of keeping their animals composed, trying to get them all set up proper and present themselves as well as the animal.
One of these days we need a crowd cam because it's fun as you glance around watching various people giving the tips and the pointers to their nieces and nephews, sons and daughters, and family friends of move the cow around this way, keep doing this way, that way. It'd be a fun crowd cam addition, I think.
Yep. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I've seen before families that get really into showing steers. They get whole, like, signal methods and, like, sign language that they'll be like, get the head up or move them this way, face towards.
Oh, absolutely. In my showing days, there was signals that we had with my dad of, okay, one thing meant, okay, inside leg needs to move back or back left leg needs to move up. And so from the outside, from the showman perspective, sometimes it's hard to see what needs to really be moved. So having that extra spotter in the crowd is a really handy and strategic thing.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And it's also different. It's interesting in showmanship, especially because you have to set up heifers differently than you set up steers. And so, yeah, having...
Well, yes, and it's a little bit different here. And we do have some heifers in here. So it's the judge, he knows that he is looking at someone that's setting up a steer versus someone that's setting up a heifer. I see one heifer here in this class shown by Colin Dorr. The other showmen appear to all have steers.
If you would please make sure that no bicycles are being ridden in the expo center or the livestock barns, that would be great. It's just a dangerous hazard, and if individuals are caught riding the bikes in those two places, the expo center or in the livestock barn, those bikes will be asked to be removed off the premises. It's just not
Oh, we've just had an announcement, Brody. Apparently the kids riding bikes, the biker gang here, the bicycle gang, getting a little out of control, trying to make it a nice little safety announcement to keep them out of the buildings and not around the animals.
Yes, sir. That's something that happens every year.
Got to make that announcement.
Yes, sir. And kids have been riding bikes as long as bikes have been around, and they've been riding them at fair. That was always a highlight of my year at fair. Just a heck of a lot of fun. Judges going around asking some questions, going down the line. These showmen have done a fantastic job, as far as I'd say.
After this, we will move on to the junior showmanship competition, and then most likely the market classes.
Well, I believe, I'd hate to contradict you, but I think they announced that there are no junior showmanship this year.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I do believe there are junior showmen, but
just not in
not junior show.
in the competition.
Nope.
Fair enough. And most of our cattle classes have been broken down into smaller classes, into classes of 2 or 3. So the classes will be relatively quick in terms of how long each class is going to take before we get to our championship drive. So you're going to want to make sure you don't take too much of a break. If you're watching this on replay, you can always go back and pause it and do what you got to do. But again, this has been a really fun experience.
Yes, sir. It's been so much fun. We're very thankful to the Los Animas County Fair Board for letting us come out here. We love bringing all of this exciting action to you, for those of you who weren't able to make it out to the fair. But we've had a fantastic turnout so far. We've got lots of people in the stands cheering on these young showmen and showwomen. And, yeah, it's just been a fantastic experience. We're very proud to bring this to you. And also, massive thank you to all of our sponsors that have stepped up to the plate and have helped make this broadcast possible from the Saddle Rock Sports Network.
Now, this is pretty fun competition here. You know, a lot of times with the intermediate and senior showmen, you're kind of waiting for somebody to just make a little mistake. You know, who's got the most unruly animal? Whoops, sorry about that. Had to try to whack a mosquito off my nose. They've kind of come out this afternoon as the temps have gone down. So we've got our final 3 here. Judge Triel asking folks to move up a little bit. Young Lucero thought he was getting pulled out of the top 3. No, the judge just wanted him to line up differently. All right, here comes the microphone. Let's see how the judge places him.
Significant strengths. I talked to him about maybe some weaknesses, but for me, I guess there's an individual out here that really the whole time I've been impressed with. I think this young man has been extremely calm out here. He always has his back legs set right. I talked to him about a couple of things, maybe alignment, choke up on his leg a little bit, but young man with the Herbert record, going to be your champion.
So, and your intermediate winner is going to be Colin Doherty. Ooh, a little bit of rodeo. That applause did not sit well with that steer. Hands off to that young man. He gave it all he could to hold on.
I think that steer's trying to walk himself back into the show barn.
He says he knows where the food and the relaxation is, and it's not in the ring.
Well, unfortunately, he'll have to be back for his market class, so tough noogies. But yeah, kudos to that gentleman for holding on to his steer for dear life. A steer that is clearly not happy with the current arrangements.
From there, I think that there's some trade-offs between young man with this composite, sharp, crossbred deal, and young lady up front. I think between the two, I was thinking young lady maybe gets that Sears head pulled up a little bit higher, maybe a little bit higher presented tonight. Congratulations, you'll be our reserve champion.
All right, that'll do it for our intermediate showman with Colin Doherty taking champion. And we'll be back in a few minutes after a word from one of our sponsors.
All of our intermediate showmanship. Second place, Faith Thurston.
LARCC Trucking is the place to call if you have something to haul. A family-owned trucking business since 2021, LARCC is named after the owner's children, their motivation to create a successful future. LARCC is ready to help you haul your hay, cattle, gravel, or equipment anywhere in southwestern United States. LARCC also buys and sells hay. Give them a call today at 970-274-0826 and get ready to haul.
Matter so much. All right, you got the tail end of a little inside broadcasting there, folks. Well, let me turn my volume down. Oh, watch out.
Oh, man. We got a breakaway steer.
I think he got crunched.
When you partner with Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions, you become part of the family. Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions is a design, build, and install company for synthetic turf fields serving Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. We are the only owner-operated turf build and install company in Colorado, and we are a one-stop shop that does it all in-house, which means the people that are building your field care about quality and will make sure that it is done right. Choose Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions and join our family.
Oh, gosh. Alrighty, folks, as we try to get the steer situation back under control.
Ooh, Sydney got crunched too. All right, folks, we have a steer that has been a little bit jumpy, to say the least, here today. So we'll talk about what we're doing here on the network as we prepare for the next class. Again, I apologize, I do not know that young man's name, but I appreciate his tenacity. And I appreciate those that are trying to wrangle that calf back in where it's supposed to be. You know, one of the neat things that we do here at the Saddle Rock Sports Network is it is truly a student-powered broadcasting adventure. And it's powered by our sponsors. There's a list of everyone that has stepped in and is sponsoring our broadcast of the county fair in one way, shape, or form. LARCC Trucking, Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions, and Woody's Furniture. They're our network-level sponsors. They're sponsoring everything we're doing this school year. We're very thankful for them. And let's see, we had some new sponsors step up and be brand new in the sponsorship of the county fair here. Hidden Valley Embroidery, who put together some really sweet caps and polos for us here at the Saddle Rock Sports Network. They can do all sorts of work for you, for your school group, your community group, maybe a family reunion, however you might need some custom embroidery work done on a hat, pullover, coat, jacket, you name it. Mandy Hill can get your logo or your design where it needs to be. Also, the Art Cottage and Studio in downtown historic Trinidad, run by Darcy Minsick. A great place just for a creative afternoon. You can go in for one of their open art days, or you can schedule a private session for your family group, your school group, and Darcy will even come out to schools and lead students in an art project. It's really a neat thing. We did that a couple times in Branson this last year. Really neat and special time. The High Desert Hunting Company is an outfitting company out of Aguilar, Colorado that hosts trophy-level hunts on their several ranches where they lease hunting, and they are also open to leasing additional property in southeast Colorado and northern New Mexico. So if you're a landowner that's looking to bring in some extra income with hunting, you might want to consider High Desert Hunting Company. Sean Zelli and his family and their associates, they're really doing a fantastic job. And then finally, the Diamond W Mercantile is a all-purpose general mercantile store in La Junta, Colorado. They have homemade items, some food items, some tack, all sorts of neat things available there at the Diamond W Mercantile in downtown La Junta. Stop by and give them a look. So those are our new sponsors. We also have some tried and true sponsors that have been with us for quite a while. Sinmar Land and Lawn Care, Cindy and Mark Henry.
There you go.
I got to get that right. Can help you if you got some just some landscaping needs in terms of weed and invasive weed control, all sorts of things they offer here in the Los Animas County region, as well as up near Cheyenne Wells. Comey Funeral Home is a longtime supporter of the Saddle Rock Sports Network and lots of student-based organizations and groups here in Los Animas County. 40 Auction Services. Good friends Brian and Penny Brown out of Folsom, New Mexico, that will do estate sales, consignment sales. Stales.
This has been a long day.
Their stuff is anything but stale. They have great things online all the time. And you can go online to bid. You don't have to be in person to participate in their auctions. It's really a neat thing that they do there. And they'll be running the sale for the livestock show here on Saturday night. And then one of our newest partners the World Journal. We're going to be doing an advertising swap with them for this entire school year, where if you're a subscriber to the World Journal, you're going to see our broadcast schedule every week right there in their newspaper and online. And we're also going to feature stories from their publication in our broadcasts and hopefully get some students involved in submitting photos and articles and different things to them as well. So we really thank all of our sponsors that have made this a possibility. Without them, we couldn't do it. If you'd like to be a sponsor, you can learn more about it at saddlerocksolutions.com/sponsors. We have sponsorship packages that start very economically at the week-by-week basis, or if you'd like to sponsor an entire sports season or maybe just a team or everything we do on the network, we will gladly connect you with our students to help design a commercial, to help work on your logo, and to be a part of what we're doing. And all of the funds that we raise, a vast majority of it goes to paying those students. This is not a volunteer organization or a club or school group, but we do employ students and pay them for their time, be it behind the camera or on the microphone. Those are junior high, high school, and even a few college students, just like Brody to my right here, just completed his freshman year at the University of Denver.
Yes, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure to be behind the mic with you. We'll be back to the action shortly. We're just getting all the people settled, all the steers settled, and making sure everyone's in good shape to continue our festivities.
So our
Sounds like we are headed back now
is Kiera Larson.
to our dairy showmanship competition. And we have Miss Kiera Larson showing her dairy cow.
Yes, there seems to be a trend within the dairy cattle showing community to be wearing all white. Mackenzie Riddle was a previous dairy showman, and she always wore all white to these shows, so I'm not sure if that's the status quo or if that's mandated by the powers that be in the dairy community or whatnot, but it is the trend, to say the least.
I believe at the larger shows, I don't think it's a requirement here at this show, but if you do want to show at the state fair or maybe at something sanctioned by maybe the Dairy Showman Association or the Dairy Cattle Association, they might have a strict dress code. When I was a young showman in 4-H in Southern California in grade school, every 4-H showman wore all white with a little green beanie.
Really?
Every 4-H showman and every FFA showman had to wear their blue corduroy jacket. And the theory there was that you are there to show your animals, not to show your fashion sense. And they wanted to even the playing field to re-emphasize the focus on the animals. So it's interesting. I'm sure my mother had lots of wonderful stories about trying to keep a white set of pants and shirt clean at the county fair. I remember you had to wait until the very last second to go put on your show whites.
Oh, sure.
Before you could enter into the fair. And even I did a little Googling of it. That is still a thing done at some counties. It changes fair to fair. I'm kind of glad that is not a thing anymore. But I really do like how they are carrying on the dairy tradition here with this outfit. So Kiera is joined by her younger brother, Colton Larson.
Colton doing a fine job of showing off that calf.
You know, look at that dairy cow. Again, I'm not a dairy cow judge, but I really respect the way that Kiera's animal is really behaving well for her.
Oh, absolutely.
Colton's cow is a little younger, a little more feisty. Kiera's cow definitely has been in the ring before, looks nice and calm. Really appreciate all the work and time that she has spent with her animal.
Get our dairy showmen out here. Our juniors, or seniors up front, and juniors back here in the back. I went and talked to them. They're both very knowledgeable about their projects. I think both of them did an exceptional job. It's sad that you guys are the only 2 entries here. You guys could definitely stand some competition out here, but I think both of you do a great job. Young lady, you're very knowledgeable about your project. I appreciate that. So go ahead and give your champion senior, Dairy Showman, a round of applause, and your champion junior, Dairy Showman, a round of applause.
There we go. Fantastic job from our Dairy Showman. Part of the Los Animas County Fair that doesn't get as much love. But it's always fun to see the folks that do decide to turn out and do dairy cows. Yes, I believe we're coming up on maybe the market classes. Hopefully everyone's animals have had time to relax. So hopefully there's a little less rowdiness in the ring.
All right, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Let's hear from one of our new sponsors. We'll start with High Desert Hunting.
The High Desert Hunting Company is based outside of beautiful Aguilar, Colorado, at the foot of the Spanish Peaks. Their specialty is one-on-one guided hunting adventures targeting your once-in-a-lifetime trophy animal. Originally known as Zelly's Hunting Club when it was founded in the 1930s, the modern-day High Desert Hunting Company also specializes in leasing and managing high-quality private ranches for big game trophy hunts, bringing in clients from all over the world and bringing money into Los Animas County. Give them a call today.
Of our bucket class, we're going to move into our dairy. So Colton, Larson, and
So
Kara
coming up
Larson
next
are
will
ready to
be
go
the
after our
bucket calf
class.
class, which just
Earlier
like
today we had
everything
a
else, this is kind of our clover bud class
and we
where
had
our
2
youngest competitors
individuals, and
have a
Jordan had
little
2
baby
tied
calf
for
just
the
about as big
adult.
as them.
Kathy
So get
Scott
ready
and
for
Josie
cute, Brody.
Curry.
Oh, yes.
Cute
And
factor
then
is
in
going
our
to
youth, we had
shoot
2
through this
tied
metal
for
roof above
first,
us, I think.
and that was
Yes, it's
Will
always fun.
Doherty
In
and
the
Alex
other
Walker. Thanks
with
to
the
our
other
judge,
species of
Donna,
livestock we have out
for
here, we
offering
have
the contest,
there's
and she
open
also
classes
donated
where the
$10
little kids
to
with
the winner.
lambs or
So a
goats
big round of
have a chance to
applause
come
to
out,
those who won the entry
walk around the
contest
ring.
and
It's
to our
low
judge
stakes. It's
for
always fun.
conducting
But
the contest.
having an open class for cows would be a little bit more challenging since those little ones may not be able to steer quite the mountain of muscle that is a steer. But now that we have our bucket calf class, we have Spur Robbins with his little bucket calf. And, oh boy, this will be a joy.
Oh, looks like we have a couple more coming in to join us. Right behind us. Again, we're going to have a whole bunch of cute happening here.
Right. Also coming in with bucket calves, we have Liam Farindelli, or that's Owen Farindelli, excuse me.
Owen Farindelli.
And I believe that's Sage Jackson?
Sage Moore.
Moore.
I believe. Yes.
There we go. A little bit of a late entry.
Then we got one more
one more,
coming
fourth
in.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh, watch out. That's
Looks like got 4 bucket calves in the ring and 4 young showmen doing their best.
these calves are always a lot of fun. This is their first time in such a weird environment.
Oh, and those little showmen are all smiles. We've got our wonderful photographers in the ring. We've got Mackenzie Riddle and JC Sumter getting all the pictures. And I believe you can find those pictures on their individual websites. But yes, massive hats off to them for taking the time and taking some pictures.
I was chatting with Mackenzie Riddle earlier today about the quantity of pictures she's taken, and she estimates just in the shows she's covered this morning and everything except the poultry show, because she showed in that, she's taken over 1,000 pictures today, Brody.
That's just a few.
Again, the moments like these are the ones I want to have the remote microphone. That would be so fun.
Yeah, get just a little glimpse into what the one of these junior, not technically junior, but these little clover buds are talking about. Absolutely love it. And we've got a varying size of bucket calves in the ring. We've got the first three, which are rather small, Mr. Farrandale's, Mr. Robbins, and Miss Moore's are all fairly small. But Mr. Lucero's in the back. That's a little bit beefier of a bucket calf.
Yeah, that little bull is got a little mass to him.
And he knows it, too. He's trying to get away from the larger and smaller Lucero.
Always a fun time watching these young showmen. All right, here comes Judge Triel.
All right, guys. Clover Bud's out here. It's actually really interesting. They all know quite a bit about their bucket calves here. You get a chance to talk to a young lady about her 4th of July baby there. I guess that one's a twin. Both those twins made it, so that's pretty impressive. Go ahead and give these Clover Buds a round of applause. I hope they continue on in the cattle.
Yes, sir. Fantastic Clover Bud class. Love seeing kids that are passionate about their animals and are just here having a fun time at fair. We love it.
So I believe we have our dairy cattle coming up next. I imagine we'll be seeing the Larsons, Kira and Colton.
Yes, sir.
In that dairy show. In those classes. Remains to be seen if we'll have any other dairy competitors. We didn't have any during the showmanship, but maybe there's a couple waiting in the wings that just weren't doing showmanship. Let's hear from one of our sponsors, another one of our new sponsors, the Diamond W Mercantile out of La Junta.
Just like the general store mercantiles of the Wild West, Diamond W Mercantile strives to stock everything our customers need for a simple life. From tack to homemade towels and housewares to locally grown meats, produce, and more. We offer grass-fed Mesa beef that was raised on the ranch right outside our door and Watauga Cheese Company cheeses made in Perryton, Texas. And we're always adding something new. Come shop with us Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 at 14 West 3rd Street in La Junta.
Class 1 of market should be ready. Cassidy Larson and JC Rogers.
All righty, stepping back into the ring here. We've got our class of dairy cows, who we saw moments before. We got Kira Larson and Colton Larson. Now, I myself am not terribly familiar with the criteria that goes into judging dairy cows, but one thing I've heard is you look for, size of like thinness in the hips for these cows and the size of their milk bag. But those are really the only two things I know. I don't really know a whole heck of a lot else. Any insights, Mr. Brad?
That sounds about good to me.
I feel like it should be a requirement for such dairy cows. You bring in a sample, and you got to try the milk. But I guess for these cows, they're probably not quite mature to that point yet. But if there's like a little sample of cheese, I feel like that only heightens the judge's perspective. Like that scene from Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, that's dairy judging, but this is similar.
It could be. Well, both of these cows look good. They're obviously well loved and well cared for. Very calm in the ring. The younger cow having a little tougher time leading, but the older cow showed by Kira again, very well mannered, very well behaved in the ring. Really enjoy watching these two young dairy showmen. both of these cows, and I don't know if it caught it on camera, but Colton said, "Hey, Mr. Brad," as he walked on by. That was pretty cool. And looking at both of these cows, the younger one and the older one, you know, their udders doesn't look like there's anything actively nursing on them now. Again, the younger one not quite old enough for that yet, I would think.
No.
Even the older cow, her bag is not as full as you would expect to see out of a dairy cow if there was something actively nursing right now.
Hey, you know, they may still be young. She could still be technically considered a heifer. So.
That huge one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dairy cows can be big. I don't know anything about dairy cows.
That thing's huge, man.
Okay, fair enough. See, I'm going to get totally toasted on your comments.
Oh, yes. I'm telling you what, these massive amounts of viewers. Hey, there's 15 people watching right now.
We'll take it. So 15 people heard that stupid comment. So that's 15 more than that needed to hear it. So,
right.
Yep.
Here comes some more knowledgeable comments from Judge Triel.
What are you talking about?
All right, bring our dairy class out here, and awesome set of dairy females. I guess ultimately for me, I like this big bred heifer to go ahead and win. I think that's just the better structured one. I think you get those cattle into motion. I think she particularly handles her hip and hind leg with just more authority and athleticism. I think she's a lot looser and more flexible out of that hip and hind leg. Not to take anything away from this younger female up front, she actually has the advantage in terms of teat size and placement. She's more consistent in her teat size. That's the biggest thing I'd like to maybe change on that big bred heifer. She's a little bit uneven in her teat size, but she's all right in her spacing. Awful nice pair of cattle, though. Go ahead and give them a round of applause as they exit the ring.
You know, I don't know if you heard what he said, but there could be some vindication. Kira Larson with her champion in the dairy. But he did say that is a big bred heifer. So, he said heifer, I said heifer. I may not be wrong here.
It is technically possible. It is technically possible.
Hey, if the dairy judge said it, that's good enough for me, man. No, that's fun. Well, congratulations to Kira Larson for her Grand Champion Dairy Cow, and also to Colton Larson for his Reserve Grand Champion.
Congratulations to our Grand Champion.
You know, one of the things we want to encourage everyone to do is, if you're able, to come out to the sale on Saturday afternoon. If you'd like to be a buyer, you are welcome to participate in the buyer's dinner and support the kids. If you don't want to buy a full and complete animal, you can always do an add-on to one or more showmen of a smaller amount. It really helps these kids pay their feed bills, because showing animals is not a inexpensive hobby. All right. Let's hear from another one of our sponsors while we prepare for the next class.
The Art Cottage Creative Studio is a place where family and friends can come to have fun while getting creative in the studio or shopping in the store. We offer instructed art classes for all ages, paint parties for all occasions, and open studio paint days during normal business hours. Located at 210 North Commercial Street in beautiful historic Trinidad, Colorado, the Art Cottage is the place to find local artwork, home goods, gifts, and more.
All right, stepping back into the action, we are going to be going in on market beef. In just a few moments, we've got Class 1 lined up. Like we said, we got smaller class sizes. We've only got about 2 or 3 animals per class, which means we'll still have a fairly large grand drive. Or I don't know how large the grand drive is going to be, but it'll be a good opportunity for each of these showmen to really show off their animal in such a small class. First class, we have Cassidy Larson and Jace Rogers.
Tonight, as we start our market show, we're going to go ahead and introduce our judge. Lonnie Trehell is from
All right, here comes our first class of our 2 animals. Let me give you a little bit of data. The calf steer being showed by Cassidy Larson came in at 1,050 pounds. The steer showed by Jace Rogers is 1 pound heavier at 1,051 pounds. So weight-wise, just about identical. We'll see structurally what Judge Triel
And then he decided to move back to Colorado.
what he prefers between these two animals.
A career in construction.
Yes, sir. And a lot of this comes down to the judge. You know, what they like more, where they like the muscle most. Again, I really don't know what defines a good cow, but
Well, there are some kind of standards. Oftentimes, bigger is better, but it's not just a matter of size. It's a matter of finish and muscularity throughout the animal, front to back. You know, then it becomes a matter of the minutia. What specific muscle groups does a particular judge prefer? You know, do they like the look right now? Or sometimes judges will say, okay, I'm giving this one because I think as a hung carcass, it's going to be a better product. So it all depends on the judge preference. Just like you said, there are the standards they look at, but there is a lot of wiggle room for kind of preference. And we've seen Judge Triel be very consistent throughout his other species, so I think the characteristics that he values and really comments on is going to really give us guidance into how he's going to treat the rest of the classes. Cassidy Larson's calf really behaving well. She's definitely put the time and the work in with her steer.
yes, sir. I am surprised she decided not to do showmanship, as that's one of the most well-behaved steers we've seen so far.
Again, sometimes you're not sure how your animal is going to behave in the showmanship competition.
Fair
So
enough.
some people decide to intentionally not do showmanship because they want their cow in the ring.
If you're going to get one good show out of them, you'd like it to be the one that counts.
Right.
For some people, that is showmanship. Sometimes that's the prize they're looking for, trying to get into that round robin. But for a lot of people, it is the market. Getting also into this, massive credit to Blake Olguin for trying to nudge Jace Rogers' calf along. That's never a fun job as you're standing behind a 1,000-pound mass of muscle.
Good way to start off our steer show this evening. I think both these cattle have some trade-offs. There's definitely some trade-offs in terms of carcass and carcass value. I think one of them's maybe a little bit safer grading. One of them's probably going to have the advantage in yield grade. At the end of the day, though, I think that composite Charlet, that white steer up front, kind of needs to win this class. I think that he has a substantial advantage in terms of topside dimension. You get on top of those cattle, he's so much bolder, more dimensional in behind his shoulder, maintains that advantage all the way out of his upper hip and then down through his quarter. I think that's going to be the better yield grade steer, and yet I still think that he's going to be plenty safe in his quality grades. Probably do more to maybe capitalize on both sides of the grid. On top of that, I think from this side, that steer is also a lot more attractive in terms of how he sends his neck out of his shoulder and really gets up and geeks out of his front end there. Now maybe where this black steer has the advantage is in terms of structure. I already mentioned that's probably the safer grading steer. He's big body, he's soggy, been really efficient obviously at converting resources, and I do think that that's the more flexible option, particularly out of his upper hip and then his hind leg. It's just when you get behind that steer, I think he's just a little bit too flat and plain in terms of his back shape. This gets a little bit flatter and plainer out of his quarter, but an awful nice kind of a meat and potatoes fat steer that's definitely going to grade. So go ahead and give both those exhibitors a round of applause.
There you go. Good class to start us off. Cassidy Larson taking the first place. Jace Rogers in second. We'll see her again in the Grand Drive.
So a couple of interesting comments from the judge there. He talked about carcass quality and yield percentages and grades. So he's really looking at what will the animal look like as a carcass in the meat locker. So, which is one of the interesting things from the beef cattle perspective, because beef are the most groomed and presented of the species. And here we got another class.
Here we have Class 2, which is Jacob Larson, bringing in his steer. I believe there was supposed to be another individual in this class who unfortunately had to leave. His cow got a little bit away from him in the showmanship round, and unfortunately went over him on the way out. So we hope that young gentleman is doing all right wherever they ended up taking him to. But I believe he would have been in this class if he was able to continue.
Yes, that young gentleman, his name Ernesto Gutierrez. Again, really appreciates the tenacity, and we appreciate all of the medical staff that was able to quickly attend to him and help him out. But in the ring right now, we got young Jacob Larson. He'll be a 7th grader at Branson School. Participates in all of the sports we offer, football player, basketball player, and was on our baseball team. So we're looking forward to seeing him participate in more junior high sports for the Branson Bearcats and the Kim Mustangs.
Yes, sir. Doing a fine job showing his steer this time, too. A little bit unruly in the showmanship, and now that he's got the ring to himself, that steer is not afraid to strut.
Lone entry out here for a second class market steers. Gotta love this one in terms of expression up high, in particular when you get behind that steer. He's got an awful lot of air down through his quarter and nose, roar. With that steer's maybe a little bit on the trim side for me. I sure would like to maybe fatten him up, make him a little more flexible out of his hind leg. But one that, again, just in terms of yield grade, in terms of muscularity and shape, you really have to appreciate. So really good job. Congratulations to you.
There we go. Jacob Larson in his class of 1, able to take first place. I believe we have our 3rd class coming up.
That will be Faith Thurston and Jacqueline Rogers in class number 3. As they make their way to the ring, they're about to come in. We're just going to keep it right here. We're not going to go to commercial break as those two steers are getting ready to come on. Excuse me. Come right on in.
There you go.
Class 3, Faith Thurston and Jacqueline Rogers. Class 4 needs to be getting ready.
And again, very close weight discrepancy between these two. Faith steer coming in at 1,123, so 1,123, and only 4 pounds heavier. Jacqueline Rogers calf coming in at 1,127. So weight-wise, very, very comparable. There was only a 10-pound difference between Jacob and what would have been Ernesto's steer. Class 4, we'll see a little more discrepancy in some of our heavier calves in coming up. But right here, two very weight-wise, nearly identical calves.
Both ladies in this class showing what I assume are Black Angus cattle. One of the several common breeds around this area. Very pretty cows. Both ladies have done a fine job of getting their steers ready for tonight.
Faith steer is not really enjoying the in-ring activity right now, so if this is me, what I would do if I was Jacqueline Rogers, and a lot of times this is something my dad instructed me to do, if the calf in front of you wasn't moving, you lap it and you kind of lead by example, and sometimes that tough calf will just fall in line if it's not the first one out. So we'll see if they do something like that, or if this calf kind of decides to figure out. He's right here saying hello to us in the broadcast booth.
I believe that Jacqueline had asked the judge if it's all right to lap her, but I think that Faith is getting the momentum. Ooh, down goes the cow.
I'm glad the cow just landed on itself right in the middle of the ring, not on Jacqueline.
Yep. Got a little shavings bath as well. A little extra decoration.
You know, it's interesting. It's the cool of the day. It's a little cool in the air. This is the time of night when animals get a little more energy, a little more feisty sometimes, and it's also a difficulty of not having very many animals in the show. Oftentimes, if you have more animals in the ring, they kind of tend to calm each other down. But here, when it's only 2, they don't get that herd mentality, that herd calmness as much as they do if there were more animals in the ring.
And honestly, kudos to the showmen in here. These ladies are doing a good job of keeping their animals in check, keeping their composure, even when they're acting up or not deciding to lead and just making life a little bit difficult. But kudos to these ladies.
Yeah, both these young ladies really doing a fine job. Uh-oh. Ooh. And Jacqueline's calf knew exactly where to try to go. It's over in the corner as Judge is looking at Faith's steer. And that calf says, hey, dude, I got you. Look at that composure that Jacqueline is showing. Her steer is not behaving, and she is really stepping up in kind of a tough moment, composed. I really like what I see out of her right here.
Yes, they're doing a very good job.
I've been in that spot, and it's not a fun one where you just have a big steer and just kind of wants to do what he wants to do. And knowing Jacqueline and the Rogers crew, they put a lot of time and work into their animals. Sometimes show day just doesn't quite go the way you originally planned it to go.
It's just been such odd weather today, and cows tend to act up when it gets cold, when the conditions aren't as you were hoping for. But yeah, massive well done to these ladies.
JC Sumter jumping in. She is an experienced cattle showman herself, won multiple showmanship contests, putting down the camera and becoming an impromptu ring assistant. Really appreciate her stepping in. All right, let's hear how Judge Trio places the class.
There's a little bit difference in terms of frame size, but these cattle are just a pound apart, and I think if you get behind those steers, you can see why. Young lady in back with that rambunctious, hard-headed one, has a substantial advantage in terms of stoutness and power. I think you study that steer indirectly behind his shoulder. You get your hands on him. He's so much more dimensional and fresher in terms of the shape and dimension that he sees out of the backside of his shoulder. Out of the backside of his shoulder, he has a substantial advantage. When you get in and handle him over his ribeye, that dude got quite a bit more dimension. He's quite up more raised up in his edge there, and then that's easily the stouter pin steer that's got more width and dimension all the way down through his quarter. That's the bigger bodied steer that's got more shape and dimension in terms of his center body. Now, from the side, I actually prefer the young lady's steer that's in front. From the side, that guy gives you a really, really cool look. Love his extension up front. You love how he handles his top line and how level he is out of his hip. I like the set to that one's hind legs. It's just in regards to his contemporary. He wants a little bit flatter, a little bit plainer in terms of shape and width up high and from behind. But one that, again, from the side, you have to appreciate. Really, really nice class. Congratulations to both those young ladies.
There we go, and I don't believe it was explicitly stated, but I believe that Judge Treehill has given Jacqueline Rogers the first place, and second place goes to Faith Thurston in this class. Well done to both these show ladies.
All right, let's have a quick commercial break from another one of our newer sponsors, Hidden Valley Embroidery.
Do you need some new custom gear for your school team, business, or for a family reunion? Hidden Valley Embroidery is here to help. We are locally owned and operated right on the family ranch in Los Animas County, and we specialize in apparel, hats, home decor, school spirit gear, business promotional accessories, and lots more. We would love to work with you to make your vision a reality. Give us a call at 719-859-3266 or find us on Facebook and Instagram today.
All right, Class 4 is happening right now. We've got Owen Doherty in the ring, and he is showing the calf owned by Ernesto Gutierrez, the young man that a little bit of an injury earlier with a different calf. The wild and crazy calf did not get shown. Hunter Lucero making his way into the ring, and Cassidy Larson to follow him up. And these are our heavyweights. Ernesto Steer coming in at 1173, Hunter's at 1248, and Cassidy Larson 2 pounds shy of 1300 at 1298.
There's some hefty fellas in here.
You know, I really like moments like this when you have showmen that step in and help others. We've seen obviously Owen stepping in to help Ernesto. We see J.C. Sumter stepping in as an in-ring assistant when needed. I mean, that's the leadership kind of quality that 4-H and showing animals, whether it's 4-H or FFA, really helps inspire, because oftentimes something in the ring is bigger than you can control. And it takes several people with the skills and ability to just jump in and help. And that just, it warms my heart.
Oh,
to see that.
absolutely. All of these cows doing a fairly good job of staying relaxed. They've seen everyone else act up, and hopefully they've had a change of heart, not trying to jinx anything, but
and each calf going on their reverse NASCAR lap here. Right-handed turns only here. Owen Doherty doing a very good job showing the calf that he's never handled before. The calf never has been handled, obviously, by Owen. Experienced showman getting it done right there, folks.
yes, sir. Owen Doherty doing a fine job of staying calm, staying composed with a calf that may not be quite as much.
Hunter Lucero coming right in front of the camera. Here comes Cassidy.
And I will say, all three of these cows in the ring at the moment are very pretty looking. The red Angus in the front, as well as the two gray cows in the back. What I am tempted to call Charlet, but being around cow people, I definitely know better. Maybe could be mixes of some sort, but all three of these cows clearly had a lot of work put into them to get them looking nice and presentable, even though they're being judged on their meat it's still fun to have cows that are looking the part as well. Here comes a word from our judge.
All right, let's see how Judge Trio calls it.
I think that all of them have some strengths and maybe some things that you'd like to change. For me, though, there's one that just puts the most together in terms of balance, structure, having some look from the side, and yet staying true to those fundamental market principles like yield grade, quality grade, muscularity. I think the young man smoke steer is the best combination in terms of one that's good looking and attractive from the side, and yet you get your hands on him. He's so fresh and handles so fresh up high and over his loin. That's probably one of the safest grading steers in this class, and yet he definitely doesn't disappoint when you get in behind him. That's a stout pin steer, but I think he's got plenty of shape and dimension for his quarter. Congratulations to you.
There we go. First place in this class goes to Hunter Lucero. We'll see about the other two.
I think you have a pair of cattle that are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. You got the young ladies, gray steer here, colored up steer, chromed up steer here that's really, really attractive from the side. That dude's way extended ahead of his shoulder. You really like how level he comes out of his hip. And you get behind him, that's easily the biggest pin, easily the most dimensional steer in terms of his rear end and quarter. I guess where I have questions about him is when you get your hands on him. He's pretty trim. Sure would like to maybe fatten that steer up, but I think at the same time, he's awful good looking, impressive from the side. I mean, I think his muscle advantages are just overwhelming. Young lady's going to be second. Congratulations to you.
There we go. That does it for class number 3.
I think the young man's red steer here that's going to be third is the one that's just kind of basic. He's just fundamentally sound. I think that steer has enough muscle. I think he has enough fat. He may end up with a little bit better carcass than the steer that's directly above him, but that's a big what if. That steer of this set's probably just the frailest, maybe the one you'd like to fix the most in terms of balance and look from the side, but you have to appreciate him just being a big, soggy, centered, and practical kind of steer that's certainly been efficient in converting resources. But anyway, that's a really nice set of steers. Go ahead and give those heavyweights a round of applause.
There we go. That does it for class 3 of our steer show. We'll have the grand drive in a few moments. First place in that one goes to Hunter Lucero. Second place, Cassidy Larson. And third goes to Ernesto Gutierrez.
LARCC Trucking is the place to call if you have something to haul. A family-owned trucking business since 2021, LARCC is named after the owner's children, their motivation to create a successful future. LARCC is ready to help you haul your hay, cattle, gravel, or equipment anywhere in southwestern United States. LARCC also buys and sells hay. Give them a call today at 970-274-0826 and get ready to haul.
Funny. Oh. Coming back into the action, you may have caught a little bit of our gabbing back and forth, talking about who might win this steer show. We've got our bets, but we'll see what Mr. Trujillo thinks. 2 Larsons in the ring right now. We've got Cassidy Larson and Jacob Larson, along with Hunter Lucero. All winners of their classes, all quality animals.
Jacqueline Rogers also coming in.
Oh, I did not see that one. Blame the camera guy for that one. Yeah, that animal has been through it today. Lots of walking, lots of working. So hopefully this will be it for that particular black steer.
All right, championship drive time. And let's make sure our names are accurate there. This is no longer class 4. Hunter Lucero with the heaviest of the classes, working its way down to the lighter Cassidy Larson, Jacob Larson, and then the lightest of this particular show, Jacqueline Rogers. Again, Judge Triel has emphasized carcass structure and fullness as what he is looking for. He's had some very good things to say about all of these animals. So based on his previous comments, I really can't tell which one he likes the best. In the goat show, he really liked and commented well on what ultimately would be the grand champion goat, market goat. But here today, right now, based on what he has said, he's kept his cards close to his chest, keeping us in suspense. We'll see who he ultimately gives the purple ribbon to.
Yes, sir. I think out of all of the breeds he's looked at today, one of his consistent features, he likes animals that are, I know this is going to sound super generic, but not only solidly built, but also have, defined features throughout that kind of draw the eye to certain areas. Just talking about animals from all their angles. He really likes the definition, but also overall consistency.
The fact that he picked Hunter Lucero's, a calf that got outweighed by 50 pounds over the bigger one in the class. He's not strictly about size. He really likes quality. So, and there are several good steers here in this championship drive. We'll see who ultimately takes home the belt buckle.
Yes, sir. Well, technically, there's 2 belt buckles going home. There, Grand and Reserve both get buckles at this particular show. Yeah, they've been doing that all day. I'm surprised you haven't noticed. A fact that I think is fairly new to this show was definitely not a thing in my day. I got plenty of reserves and nothing to show for it, so I don't know. I have to have words with someone about that.
Well, we shall see. I don't think that's the case.
That is very much the case.
Because I know who sponsored the beef championship buckle, and I don't think there's a special sponsor for the reserve champion buckle. Well, everybody gets a plaque, but only the champion gets a buckle.
Oh, no. Well, everybody else, Will got a buckle for winning poultry, and Brock got a buckle for reserve. So everybody else has had the reserves as well. So, I don't know.
So the champion steer will get a check for $500 and the reserve champion a check for $250. Just to congratulate and encourage these kids to keep doing what they're doing. So good job, everyone, and good luck.
Cool little announcement there from our fair managers. One of the families has put together a little bit of money so that the grand champions of all the market species get $500 and the reserves get $250. So a nice little bit of pocket change.
All right, let's see what Judge Triel has to say about the champs.
Size and weight. I think that all of them are good, though. I think all of them have muscularity. I think all of them have body shape. In particular, though, I like these 2 cattle down here at the end out of our heavier classes. I think you talk about ones that are just fundamental and stay true to those market principles. I think that both of these cattle fit the bill. Both those cattle are fat. Both those cattle are muscular. Ultimately, though, for me, there's one that maybe just has a little bit neater look from the side. I like how this one's front end is assembled just a notch better. Young man up front with that smoke steer is going to be your champion.
All right, Hunter Lucero with your grand champion market steer.
And then that means that Cassidy Larson's steer will be brought into the ring, shown by Mr. Jace Rogers. Bringing it in for Cassidy. So I think it's really cool how the judge has a chance to, what's the word I'm looking for? To reevaluate the steer from the same class, just in case there was 2 absolute studs in the class that would be hard to pick for any other reason. So we'll see what he chooses for Reserve Grand. In the ring now are 2 of Cassidy Larson's steers, and Jacob Larson as well as Jacqueline Rogers. There we go. I'm so sorry. I blanked on that name real hard.
All right, here comes Judge Trio with his announcement of the reserve.
All right, again, they bring that second place heavyweight out here, and one that I get again from the side. You gotta love this steer, just in terms of his front third. Love that one's length and extension ahead of his shoulder. Love that one's shape and expression directly behind his shoulder. Love how he comes out of his hip, the set to his tail head. So powerful, so impressive.
There we go, and looks like Cassidy Larson gets reserve grand for her steer from the same class as the grand champion. Not too often you see that, but that is the results of our steer show. We've got grand champion goes to Hunter Lucero, reserve grand goes to Cassidy Larson, and that'll be about it for our steer show. They'll have the buckle presentations in a few minutes, and we'll be back in a few moments with the breeding classes. We'll have heifers and all of that goodness. So we'll be back in a few with the rest of our cow show.
At First National Bank, we are Trinidad. We know the needs of our community because we're part of the community. We offer competitive rates and build loan products that meet your financial needs. We're active in our community through events and donation programs. Banking with us is convenient with iBank, Zelle, iCard card management, and 4 locations in Southern Colorado and Northern New Mexico. First National Bank in Trinidad. Visit fnbtrinidad.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 402572.
There we go. Massive thank you to our sponsor on that one, First National Bank of Trinidad. They hopped on fairly early in this broadcasting journey with us, and we love to see the support of members of the community, and we wouldn't be able to do this without them powering this student broadcasting network. We're able to do so much and really just support school groups as we're expanding. It's been so exciting to see how our little broadcasting thing has grown from being something we started during COVID to expanding all the way until now. And we have just recently added the Honey School to our network. Previously, it was just us doing Branson and Kim Sports, doing just our basketball, volleyball, and track. But Honey has been very gracious and hopped on board with us, and we will be bringing you their football games for the first part of the year, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Yeah, it's been super awesome to see how this network has grown. And if you'd like to help support, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That'll be the best way to stay up to date on all of our things, especially as we get into sports season, where we'll be bringing you weekly content of all of your favorite local sports teams. You can also, if you came across our stream on Facebook, you can give us a thumbs up and maybe send some people our way. It would be awesome for you to join us on our journey of bringing you lots of sports. I don't know. I'm just trying to kill time. If you didn't notice, my dad was in the ring presenting the Grand Champion buckle to Mr. Hunter Lucero. That's been something that our family has taken a lot of pride in doing since my granddad, Mr. Ben Doherty, he was big into 4-H. And it's just something that our family likes to do to honor him in his memory. So, yeah, just super duper cool. And we'll be back with the breeding show in a few minutes. And why don't we go ahead and hear from another one of our wonderful new sponsors.
The Art Cottage Creative Studio is a place where family and friends can come to have fun while getting creative in the studio or shopping in the store. We offer instructed art classes for all ages, paint parties for all occasions, and open studio paint days during normal business hours. Located at 210 North Commercial Street in beautiful historic Trinidad, Colorado, the Art Cottage is the place to find local artwork, home goods, gifts, and more.
There we go. Awesome. Massive thank you for the Art Cottage for being one of our sponsors, specifically for this event. They responded to the call for sponsors, and they're helping make this show possible. We're bringing you the breeding show in a few minutes. I believe we've got a few classes of heifers to get through, and yeah, we'll be bringing you that shortly. Once we wrap up this beef show, I believe that is the end of our broadcast schedule for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the pig show. Be bringing you all the action on the swine frontier. And we'll also be bringing you the round robin show. One of the most fun events, in my opinion, at the show when you have the best showman showing everything. And I find that to be super cool.
Owen Doherty, Kiara Larson, and Jacqueline Rogers.
All right, we've got one big class of breeding heifers coming up. We've got a whole slew of Dohertys, Kiera Larson, and Jacqueline Rogers. It'll be a fun one. Lots of cows in the ring at once. The action we've all been waiting for. And we also have in our booth a special guest commentator, likely our last for the night, my brother, William Doherty.
Well, Will, welcome to the booth.
Howdy.
As an experienced heifer showman, you might have some insights that you can share with our viewing audience today. And with me, I never actually showed heifers. I watched you show heifers. I was mostly a steer guy myself. So what are you looking for in a quality show heifer?
Well, first of all, it's been a couple years, but I showed heifers for 6 years. All the way, I did futurity twice, which is where you start with a calf, then you show it as a yearling, and then one more time as a mother with its calf, as a cow-calf pair. And it's a journey, but yeah. So I've done my fair share of showing heifers. I'm showing ducks currently this year. But yeah, heifers, they're a whole new ball game. You want them very feminine looking, so usually the heads are clipped real short. You don't want them big and bulky, acting like a steer. You want a very wide pelvic range, because the wider the pelvis, the easier it is for them to give birth. So in terms of yearlings, that's really what you're looking for. It's mainly just in the pelvic area. You want a huge rib cage, so they can easily carry that calf and grow it as big as it can before it gets birthed. But yeah, so it'll be fun. See what's happening.
All right, we're getting ready. Looks like we're maybe waiting on a judge or something else happening. Not quite sure what the pause is for. So we're going to hear from another one of our awesome sponsors. How about M&M Towing and Repair?
At M&M Repair and Towing, we provide you, our customers, with the highest level of excellence by getting your vehicle back in commission with minimal cost to you and your company. Our team is dedicated to offering you 24/7 access to automotive repair, roadside assistance, and vehicle towing, along with other services to keep you on the road. We at M&M are proud to serve the Trinidad, Walsenburg, and Raton areas and are proud to sponsor today's basketball games.
All right, it's been an entertaining evening here at the Beef Show. We had 9 total entrants. One was a little unruly during our showmanship competition, so that calf was not shown during the market show. Ultimate Grand Champion for the night was Hunter Lucero. Reserve Grand Champion Market Steer was owned by Cassidy Larson. Yep. And with our smaller numbers, often we had classes of just 2. Most classes had only 2 and some had 3. Oftentimes what I've noticed, Will, is when you have really small numbers in a class, the cows are a little more on edge because they're not with each other. And there is kind of that calming impact of them being near each other, kind of that herd mentality. Go figure. So I think for our breeding classes where we've got, I think, 4 or 5, maybe we'll have a little less rodeo action.
Yep, I think a huge part of it is the weather. I don't know if you've discussed that, but it's frisky out. It just rained like an hour ago. It's cloudy. There's a little breeze. It's kind of cool. And all the cows are getting tugged around, so it's frisky, and everybody wants to cool.
There are a lot of factors going into play here this evening. All right, let's get this breeding show on the way. Coming into the ring, leading on the pack is Colin Doherty, the three Doherty brothers, followed by Liam Doherty, and then Owen Doherty. Next into the ring is Kira Larson, followed by Jacqueline Rogers. Gosh, all of these heifers looking really nice. A couple of Herefords in the show, a Baldy Cross, a couple of Red Angus. A nice little breed diversity. That's kind of fun.
Everything after.
Brody wanted to get back on the microphone.
Will's still making me do the camera, by the way. He just wants to sit in the seat.
Yeah, he warmed up the chair for me. It's nice and warm.
Why don't you scooch on over this way, give him a little more room to do the camera, sit down if he wants to. All righty, little inside baseball, behind the camera magic. Folks get to listen in on this wonderful Doherty family chemistry. And yes, at the Saddle Rock Sports Network, we do have a fair number of Dohertys involved, but we had actually 11 different students that helped with our broadcasts in the 2022-2023 school year. So a lot of people got involved, and that was just the students. We did have a couple of adults, myself and one other gentleman, that helped make things happen and kind of supervise a little bit. For the most part, though, especially as we got our rhythm during basketball season and baseball season, it was completely student run and executed.
Just looking at the class here, Liam's steer it's pretty nice. I think just
It's a steer?
Heifer. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Heifer. Just in terms of size comparison to the rest of them, I think it's the broadest. But we'll see what the judge likes.
Yeah, it's really interesting listening to this judge, and his descriptions will often tell you what he's looking at. So what he has done historically is pull off kind of the bottom end of his class first, but the way everything is arranged now seems to be a little flip-flopped.
Who knows?
Zoom out farther, buddy. There we go. I think that's what he's done here. So Owen Doherty, Liam Doherty, and Jacqueline Rogers still in the top three. Here comes Judge Triel.
Nice set of yearling heifers we have out here. I think there's one out here that needs to win and do so fairly handily. Young lady's Baldy Brockle face deal back here is my favorite. I think just in terms of cow power, in terms of broodiness, she blows this class away. You study that one in terms of genuine rib shape there in her forerib and how that she maintains that through her midrib and then back to her rear rib and flank. I think she's the most impressive. And then on top of that, it stand to reason. When you get on either end of those cattle, she's easily the widest base. She's easily the stoutest pin, and yet I think she's still plenty functional and plenty sound when you get those cattle in motion. I think she gets out with a plenty long and free stride. I think that's a really nice place to start. Now from there, I think you have a pair between this Hereford heifer and I guess Red Angus heifer here. I think that they have opposite structure issues. When you study those cattle on the go, I think this Red Angus heifer, she wants to tighten in her spine, poke that tail head in the air, kind of break there in her loin, and maybe get a little more encumbered and restricted out of her hind leg. That Hereford heifer has the opposite problem. When she gets out and goes, she wants to get a little bit loose on her rear leg, wants to throw that thing a little bit far under herself and drop her pins. I think in terms of body, they're pretty comparable. And ultimately, for me, I'll just take the extra flexibility in that Hereford heifer. I think she just gets out and motors. More flexibility is more functional than not enough flexibility. Red Angus heifer, again, maybe fix her there in terms of her spine and how she ties into her tail head, free her up on her hind leg, but one that's still broody, still has plenty of body depth and body shape. Got another Red Angus heifer out here that comes next. That's easily the freshest haired heifer out here. Definitely appreciate that about her. If I had to guess, I would assume she's also the youngest. I think she's also, with that, the most impressive in terms of her top shape. She's really fresh and bold in her forerib. It's structure that I have an issue with her on. That heifer needs to be laid back just a notch in her shoulder. She needs more flexibility out of her hip and hind leg, but one that you appreciate just in terms of freshness, in terms of shape. Really, really like that one. Young man with the longer feathered heifer here is another one, just in terms of length and extension. That one's awful good. Talk about femininity. I like that one's neck shape. She's really flat and good in terms of her neck shape. She's really smooth there at the point of her shoulder, how she ties in to her neck. It's just in terms of stoutness and power and true body shape that I think maybe she misses out today. Should like to drop her down in her midrib and in her flank, and then maybe give her just a shot more power, maybe bolden her up there in her forerib and center body. But an awful nice set of yearling heifers. Go ahead and give all those exhibitors a round of applause.
So your placings out of that class: Jacqueline Rogers coming in first, Owen Doherty coming in second, no, he gave it to Liam. Liam the Hereford came second. Owen came third.
Third place, Owen Doherty.
Kira Larson at fourth, and Colin Doherty at fifth.
Class 1 winner, Jacqueline Rogers.
Yeah. It's a good class. Based on what you could hear the judge talk about, it's mainly all about rib depth. The forerib and the hind rib and the distance of the pin bones. Really, you can tell that judge really liked a lot of the rib area.
I think it's always interesting, too, to hear what the cool buzzwords are at the show. Like he talks about freshness. That's a word he liked. When it was the smaller animals, the sheep and the goats, he talked about, oh, that handle's hard. That one handles hard. Handles hard across the back. Had a hard handle. So that was a phrase that he liked to use. He hasn't described hard handles here on the cattle, but it's fresh. I noticed that word last year too. That was lots of things. The good things were fresh. All right, not exactly sure what class we got coming up next. Did you hear what that was, Will?
Cattle.
I'm guessing breeding cattle.
Yep.
Going to be some breeding cattle.
Probably females.
So you're on the camera for a minute. All righty. All right, looks like we got some older cows coming in. Or cow-calf pairs, it looks like.
We got Caleb Sumter, who's holding the mother of the pair, and Owen's coming along with the calf behind. Looks like he's the only one in his class.
Well, they still got the gate open. They might be waiting for a second one to finally get prepped and come on in. Yep, looks like we got Jace Rogers entering the ring with being assisted by, who is that? Hard to see past that big old.
Cooper Winter. Oh, wait. Cooper's back there.
Oh,
Caleb Valdez.
Caleb Valdez helping out Jace.
And then Cooper Winter behind him. You know, personally myself, the hardest I've ever had to show is a cow-calf pair because it's a very protective mom and a stubborn little calf.
Did you see how clever that was right there, what Caleb just did?
Yeah, that's what I had to do with my heifers. because my mama cow was so stubborn she wouldn't go anywhere without her calf. And so, yeah, I had to lead the calf first, and that's what the thing is with Jace Rogers and Caleb Valdez.
Cooper Winter, assisted by
Charlie
Waits, grand champion goat, market goat, showed by Charlie earlier today. I always thought this was an interesting class because you're judging both of them as, collectively as a pair, but you're still comparing the mama cows to the other mama cows and the other calves to the calves to the other calves. Just a very interesting judging task, I've always thought.
In the previous class, it was the yearling heifers, and the main thing the judge looks for is the, structural soundness of those heifers. And in this class, DNA and genetics plays a huge part also. And so you'll see what the mom's genetics are, and then you'll see what traits carried on to the calf. And if the mom did a good job feeding her calf, and or if the calf is a productive calf.
All right, is this group of cow-calf pairs making their reverse NASCAR lap? JC Sumter helping her brother Caleb. JC, who's big into showing heifers in her show day. She also is been out of high school for a year, current college student. Back helping out the family and helping out the fair in the ring and as a photographer.
Looks like all the pairs here are all a variety of Black Angus. Back in my day when I was showing pairs and heifers, most of it was Red Angus or Hereford Angus crosses. One of the major criteria that the judge is most likely looking for here is the size of the udder on each of the moms and how that correlates to, how big the calves are. And big thing is the mammary glands that he's looking at.
I think all three of these pairs are awful nice. I think all three of these mamas are doing a phenomenal job raising these calves. I think in terms of udders, all these cows I think are more than good enough. I guess for me, though, there's a pair out here where not only do I really like Mama in terms of her build and structure and how functional and old-bodied she is, but I think her calf is freaking awesome. This cow-calf pair up front is going to win this class. Guys, take a look at this heifer calf. You get a chance. That thing is really, really nice. So feminine, so good in her top line. Hip and hind leg design is just great. Comes with so much foot and bone and power and stoutness. I think that's an awesome nice pair. Congratulations to you two. Now from there, I think the two pairs remaining are kind of different in terms of type and kind. I think one of them is more genuine in terms of her rib and body. She's bolder in terms of her forerib. She's got way more expansive rear rib and flank. And then I think she just comes with more flexibility and ultimately more longevity. Two young men in the middle are going to be second in this class. Really, really nice pair. I think ultimately what it comes down to for me is she's just more correct in terms of her structure. She's laid back more correctly in terms of the angle to her shoulder that cow is than maybe this pair in second. I just think in terms of functionality and longevity, that cow just has maybe more of what it takes. Not to take anything away from this last pair that's back in the back here, because that's a cow that's really, really attractive from the side. Extremely extended ahead of her shoulder. She's really level down her top, comes really level out of her hip. Where I get critical of her is just in terms of structure. I think she's way too upright in terms of her hind leg. Really like to lay that one back in her shoulder angle, and then perhaps what I'm concerned with the most is just how hard the back is or connected with the one that you have to love. terms of femininity, how long and extended she is ahead of her shoulder, one that's really, really attractive from inside. Has a really stout heifer calf on her as well, so congratulations to you. That's a nice pair.
Okay, so that cow-calf class is going to get placed just in the exact order they came in the ring. Caleb Sumter and his pair first, Jace Rogers and his pair second, Cooper Winter and his pair third.
To Jace Rogers, and your Class 2 winner goes to Caleb Sumter.
One of the cutest things I've seen all day, maybe we can get our camera to pin over to the corn bin. Several of the girls, oh, you can't see them now. They have tucked their t-shirts in and stuffed their shirts with corn. So instead of beer bellies, they've got corn bellies.
They got dad bods.
See if you can see them in between. This is way more entertaining than a commercial break anyway. Oh, looks like they're hiding out of camera view. And here we got our championship drive for the breeding cattle. Jacqueline Rogers and her yearling heifer, and Caleb and his cow-calf pair.
That's a big yearling heifer right there.
Yeah, the judge's comments about her, I mean, that she was literally head and shoulders just a little more developed than everything else in that class.
Mm-hmm.
But he really liked this heifer. It'll be interesting to see. I think just his enthusiasm for that young heifer calf might be what tips the scales. What's your call?
I don't know. I really like that cow-calf pair too. Not only is the little heifer beautiful, but the mom is great, and her body structure is amazing.
Breeding heifer or cow, whatever the case may be. I think that both these females, or all three of these females, have a lot of quality to them. That yearling heifer, like I talked in class, just so broody. The brood cow out here, she's just a tank in terms of her center body, how big top she is and how thick-ended she is. Like I said, you could maybe modify her hind leg just a notch, but I think that's getting critical of one that's really, really broody and just kind of cow. Come back to the pair, I think maybe they're on the other end of the spectrum. Here we have a pair of really attractive females, really feminine females that have a really good look from the side. Ultimately, I just like this pair. I've never had the opportunity to do this, but this pair is going to be your champion breeding females today. Congratulations to you two.
So Caleb Sumter and his breeding pair ends up as the champion breeding beef entrant. Is that a word? Entrant? I think it's a word.
Yeah.
I think it totally counts.
Entry, I don't know.
Well, and here comes Jace and Caleb with the second place cow-calf pair. And so we'll see if they can beat Jacqueline's yearling heifer. But the judge really liked that yearling heifer, so I think, and he's sitting there talking with him now, giving him a chance to get out, giving him the heads up, hey, get that calf out there ahead. And Mama says, okay, I'll follow my baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom was very, not my mom, my
Your mom, she
my
would do
cows,
that, let you kind of run ahead, and finally your mom would kind of follow
my
you.
cow, the mother of the cow that I showed. Very protective. So yeah, that calf had to lead the way, but good thing she was halter broke.
Like I said in class, I really like these two as well. I think Mom is just a really kind of practical and functional female. Plenty of body, I think she's plenty flexible, just really, really complete and really, really nice. Young lady with that yearling heifer is going to be reserved today.
And Jacqueline Rogers gets the nod for the reserve breeding entry here in the beef show. All right, we'll wait and see here for a second if there are any more cattle entries.
Congratulations to our breeding beef female reserve grand champion went to Jacqueline Rogers, and your grand champion went to Caleb Sumter. A big thank you to Bill and Nancy Wilkinson for donating the buckle. Upon completion of our breeding, we have our charity next. So stick around and we will wrap up our beef show.
All right, and the final competition for the night will be Futurity, but we'll get to that after we hear from a sponsor or two.
Woody's Furniture invites you to stop by one of their 2 convenient locations to browse their fine selection of beautiful furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more for your home. Visit their original store in downtown Raton or their new store in Trinidad on Freedom Road, right next to Big R, for a personal and professional furniture shopping experience. Woody's Furniture proudly supports the student athletes and student broadcasters of this tournament.
The way you were panning across when it was the cow-calf pairs looked really sharp.
Yeah, I can't do that when I'm trying to talk at the same
No,
time.
it looked smooth. I mean, it was good.
I can't even talk and breathe at the same time.
Fair enough.
When you partner with Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions, you become part of the family. Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions is a design, build, and install company for synthetic turf fields serving Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. We are the only owner-operated turf build and install company in Colorado, and we are a one-stop shop that does it all in-house, which means the people that are building your field care about quality and will make sure that it is done right. Choose Rocky Mountain Turf Solutions and join our family.
Here we go.
4D Auction Services, owned and operated by Ryan and Penny Brown, is a family-run business based out of Folsom, New Mexico. Named 4D for their 4 daughters, they offer a variety of auction services throughout northeastern New Mexico, southern Colorado, southwest Kansas, and the Oklahoma Panhandle. They offer business liquidations, large and small equipment sales, farm, ranch, and estate sales, and moving and consignment auctions. Visit them online at 4dauctionservices.highbid.com to see what they are selling today.
But yeah.
All right, as we are waiting for the Futurity class to begin, wanted to bring up our broadcast schedule for the fair. We're pretty much just about done with day number 1 of our livestock shows. We will be here bright and early tomorrow morning for the hog show, and there's quite a few entrants. It's always a fun and competitive show here with the swine. So we'll be here 8:30 tomorrow morning on the Saddle Rock Sports Network, and then we'll also be here Saturday morning starting at 9 a.m. for the round robin showmanship contest. Now that one's going to be interesting because the actual contests take place in different locations. So I'm not sure how we are going to do that one yet. We might just bring to you the elements that are happening here in the show ring, because they'll be showing pigs, they'll be showing horses, they'll be showing cattle, and they'll all kind of be rotating through. It'll be interesting to see how they do that from a broadcast perspective. All right, here we go. Young Mr. Colton Larson coming in with the Futurity class. So here is class number 1, these young heifer calves. And the Futurity competition is a 3-year competition. These will come back next year as yearling heifers. And then the year after that, they will come back as bred pairs with their own calf. So it's a neat thing, and it is really a commitment here, a 3-year deal. Now, Will, you did this once or twice?
I technically did it twice, but the first year I started off with the bucket calf, and I was a clover bud. So I did the whole thing twice, but legally did it once as a member. But yeah, it's a really big investment. You have to be really engaged, and you got to put a lot of work into your animal because you got to re-halter break them each year. And when I started off, there was about 5 kids that showed a calf with me, and then the next year it was like 3 of us, so a couple dropped out, and then the year after that it was just me. So it's a big commitment, and you gotta stick with it for a while. And it's the same judge, Mr. Tom Verker. I'm pretty sure it is. And
Well,
he
he's not
did
the
it-
judge, but he's the sponsor of the program.
Oh, he's the sponsor of the program.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's a great guy. And these little heifers right here, they're nice heifers. Both pretty. Their top lines are amazing.
I believe Mr. Verker, he reaches out to various ranchers in the area, and this program is unlike others, and it really, I believe, sets a tone and gives kids a sense of how you really are invested in an animal for years. Really the whole entire life and production cycle of that calf versus just a one and done kind of experience, because the agriculture is a long revolving door of breeding animals, caring for them for multiple years, getting them into your breeding herd, culling them when necessary, the next generation's coming up. And really, it's this futurity project that kind of teaches that lesson almost better than any.
Yep. It's at the end of the day. It's the last show. I remember one year I was showing a yearling heifer, and she was the equivalent of a moody teenage girl. And the steer show lasted till like 11 o'clock at night. And it was very late, and I had to show this moody teenage heifer. And it was a journey. But, yeah, don't underestimate the futurity program.
I remember that year. I don't know if it was actually 11 o'clock at night or if it just felt like it.
Okay, maybe
It may have been like 9.
12 o'clock.
I remember being just about as exhausted as you were, but you were a trooper.
It was
And
back when there was a lot of steers too, so the
steer show took a
lasted.
long time, and a lot of heifers in that particular year too. It was a full cattle year. And then to continue year to year in this project, you have to have a little bit of luck on your side as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your calf has got to be showable. She's got to be injury-free. When it's time to get to have the bred calf, her calf has got to be showable. She has to deliver that healthy calf.
Yep.
A lot of things can go wrong, which is another lesson that gets learned in agriculture, is dealing with that adversity and working through the process.
Yeah, one year I had a heifer, and her hoofs grew out a little bit long, and she stepped on a rock, and it snapped too far back from her toe. And so she limped to like a week before fair, and it's just those little things we have to deal with, like, oh, hopefully it gets better so I can show.
Now, a couple of things we got to apologize for. Most of that futurity class, I had it on the wrong screen. So as you and I were chatting, folks could hear us chat, but they weren't actually watching the young men handle their cattle. They did great. And I think we're having a little bit of audio issues. I couldn't hear which of the young heifers got placed first or second in the class. Could you tell there, Will?
I think, pretty sure it was, first place was Colton Larson.
Colton Larson.
Colton Larson and Jacob Larson.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that's not right. But wait, it is right. Same last name.
All right, I do believe that concludes the beef show. There is, to my knowledge, nothing else on tap. Sometimes a futurity project, depending on what cycle they are in, there's a year 2 show and then a year 3 show, but I don't see any year 2 futurity projects getting ready to enter the ring. And it looks like we are done. We're going to stay here on air for just a minute or two longer to see if anybody makes any announcements or if we're actually done with the cattle show, because there's still quite a few fans and spectators here. I want to thank Will Doherty for stepping onto the mic. I want to thank Brody Doherty for being on the mic for most of the day and running a lot of camera. We will be here bright and early tomorrow to watch some pigs.
Yes, sir. Shoo-wee. It'll be a fun time. Alrighty. No, it's been a pleasure. We're looking forward to bringing you everything tomorrow. I think that they are wrapping up. I think they just have a few details, deciding what to do.
Might be time for some jokes. Might be time for some dinner.
That is also fair.
That is.
Well, you know, with all these cattle shows, I think it would only be fair to ask, what do you call a cow with no legs?
I don't know, Brody. What would that be?
Ground beef.
Oh, what do you call a cow with 2 legs?
I don't know.
Lean beef.
Oh, man, that's a good one. What do you call a cow stuck on a wooden pole? Steak.
I thought you were going to say kebab.
Kebab. I don't know. That one wasn't quite as good as the other ones. Oh, yeah. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting. Oh, yeah. I knew it was coming.
There you go.
I walked willingly into that one.
You sure did. You could have just said, no, absolutely not. But I believe that's it for the cow show.
I'm not seeing any more entries preparing to enter the ring, so let's call it. Brody, what do you say?
I think that'll do it.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Like we said, we'll be here at 8:30 for the swine show tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you all very much.